everybody to Cinema Sickness, and today is the day you have all been waiting for. We're going to finally take a tour of the recently renovated library, and helping me film today is the Rickster. Say hello, Rick.
Hey guys!
Alright guys, but before we actually get down to the tour, for those of you who might be new, let me tell you a little bit about myself. Since 2001, I've been collecting cinematic media, and in those nearly 17 years, I've acquired thousands of titles on 40 different cinematic formats, and since 2011, I've been doing a daily video documenting my collecting. So, alright, let's go take that tour. I guess we'll start things off with formats first, but before we actually do that, I'll explain to you this new kind of weird way I've decided to do my shelves. This might drive some of you crazy, but for me, it's all about aesthetics and the way things look. I'm very OCD about that, so I've actually kind of organized by cases. We have all my standard cases, then they go into things with sleeves and box sets and whatnot, then into snapper cases, and then things like jewel cases, which again is kind of weird. Certain things kind of get separated, but for me, it looks really nice. I love the uniformity of everything. Before, it kind of looked like the box sets, where everything was sort of jetting out, and it drove me nuts. Everything looks a lot more organized now, and again, it might be kind of a weird way to organize your movies, but for me, it really does work. So, all right, on to the actual... I trip over things. On to the actual formats. So starting off with DVD, and they begin up here with 3D DVD. And yes, these are actual 3D DVDs that do not use red and blue glasses. These actually use shutter glasses, which is kind of crazy. Kind of a precursor to 3D Blu-rays. I actually do have two sets of the glasses. In fact, they're actually glasses and this whole big contraption that hooks up from your DVD player into your TV, then to the glasses. It's crazy. It's a pain in the butt to hook up. I rarely ever watch these, but they are pretty cool and interesting, and it's just a weird, bizarre type of DVD. And then into the wonderfully failed Sony Superbit, which are just kind of higher quality DVDs. It is my goal someday to have the entire North American collection, but as of right now, that's all I have. And then into mini DVDs, and these are just standard DVDs, but mini, they're smaller. I have them separated because they're interesting, they're different, why not? And then we do go into standard DVDs, and I actually have these all separated by sections as well. I used to go across the entire wall, but again, just for aesthetic reasons, I have decided to go with sections and sections. So they start here, and then they go across and down all the way until we get down here to A. So the other way I have things organized, which also drives some people crazy, is I don't have these alphabetized as people normally would. I just kind of have all my numbers together, all my A's together, all my B's together, and the reason for that mainly is because it makes putting titles away so much simpler. If my entire collection was actually 100% alphabetized, it would take me hours upon hours to put just one title away, and that would not work. This is pretty good. If I want to find The Adventures of Mark Twain, it might take me a minute to go, okay, there it is, that's it. And I'd rather it take me a minute or two to find one title than 3 hours to put one movie away. So that's why I do it this way. I think it works best for a large collection like this. So again, we just go across and down this section here, and then getting to the end of there, and then starting up here and down, and then so on and so forth down every single section. So again, DVDs start back there on this first wall here, and then they come over onto this entire wall here. And then, oh yes, and then we come over here to this wall. Oh, sorry, I lost you guys for a second. Then over onto this wall, and this is kind of where it gets a little weird because we come down this little section right here, and then of course over into this section as well. So now we're into D's, and then I think, yeah, G's actually end up starting way up here, and then we come across this entire wall over here. So all the way across this wall, ending down here in the beginnings of M. And then starting up here, and then this is by far the largest wall in the entire collection. All the way down here. This whole entire wall here, all full of DVDs. We start here with T, and then we actually do go on the top row here because it's not really split into sections. We do actually go all the way across, all the way down to the very end, as you can see. And then, of course, we go back to sections. So we down there end with U, and then U starts back up here, goes down this section, and then finally to this section where we end, well, W ends here. And then I kind of did this weird thing where I, to fill in some space, started facing them outwards. So obviously from W all the way down to Z. So that is it for my entire DVD collection. DVDs definitely take up the largest space in my collection. I have more DVDs than any other format. I still love DVDs. I know a lot of people will refuse to buy anything on DVD and only go Blu-ray. People like Rick, which I understand. I get it. But for me, I'm okay with still buying DVDs. A lot of titles are only put on DVD still, and even if they are available on Blu-ray, if I find it for a good price and it's not a title I'm dying to have in high definition, I'm perfectly fine going with DVD. So yes, again, DVD is the most prevalent format within my collection, and that's why it pretty much goes all the way around. So where should we go next, Rick? Blu-rays?
Sure.
All right.
The important format.
The only format that matters to some people. All right, so Blu-rays are down here. So my Blu-ray collection is not nearly as big as my DVD collection and just goes on this wall. Again, starting with this section and then that section and then so on and so forth. So they do start up here with numbers and then across. And I do have these separated the same way where standard cases are here. And then we go into things like sleeves and box sets and whatnot after the standard cases. And again, they start up there. Go all the way across each row and down, then onto this section here, and then finally onto this section here and down. And as you can see, they more or less stop down here, but again, to fill in some space, I did fill in the rest of the shelves with them facing out, so they do take up the entire wall. But again, my Blu-ray collection is not nearly as big as my DVD collection, but I do buy Blu-rays pretty frequently, so this is growing quite a bit. In fact, just recently, Rick and I really beefed up our collections with that whole what Dollar General sale that was going on. Rick, you're falling over stuff. So then I do also have 3D Blu-rays as well. I'm actually a big fan of 3D Blu-rays. I know a lot of people don't like them. It's a dying format. I get it, but for me, I'm a sucker for these, and I love watching movies in 3D. I have them on this shelf right here because I don't have as many. Again, starting there with numbers, A's, B's, C's, they go all the way across and down. So I have a decent collection. And then one of my smallest collections, my 4K Blu-rays. I've only recently started picking these up. As you can see, I have an okay collection of them. But again, I have only recently started buying these. Within the next, I'm sure, year, I will have to move on to a new shelf. I would say by the end of 2018, I'm thinking they won't be on this shelf anymore. I'm hoping to have all this filled up and then move somewhere else. So we shall see. All right, so next, how about another high definition format? Oh wait, Rick, we gotta switch because it's above you. We have my HD DVD collection. I have quite a few of these as well. I have them up here on this shelf because I gotta take advantage of every little bit of space I have down here. And again, they start here with numbers, A's, B's, all the way across until we get to, I don't know where it ends, somewhere way down there. And then we do actually come over to the other side as well, starting way down there and coming all the way across and ending there. Oh, you want to get back here? And ending with my Xbox 360 HD DVD player, still mint in box. I don't have an Xbox, but I just use that for the heck of it. All right, so we're standing here. Let's take a look at some of my more kind of weird and bizarre formats. And there are actually two HD formats, actually three HD formats within these shelves as well. So again, these are kind of my, again, weird, bizarre, different formats, my kind of non-standard stuff. We have Movie CD. These are an interesting format. Again, a precursor to to DVD right around the same time as video CD. These are horrible quality. They're really, really bad, and they actually only play in a Windows 95 computer. You can get them to play in Windows 98 as well, but apparently not so good. And anything beyond that, they won't work in. So I do actually have a Windows 95 computer just to play these. I have a decent collection of them. They're really, again, weird formats. And then, believe it or not, guys, we actually have high definition VHS. These are called DVHS or D Theater, and these are actually 1080, was it P or 1080i VHS. Yes, high definition VHS tapes. That was a thing that they tried to do for a little bit there. You do actually have to have a special high definition D Theater VHS player, VCR, to actually get these to work, which I do have. So I got a few of those. Then into another bizarre format here. This is VCC or Video 2000. Not really something that ever was anything over here in the States. These were bigger over in Europe. They actually competed with VHS and Beta, and they're bizarre because they look like giant cassette tapes. They're really, really weird. But again, something that was bigger over in Europe, and I do not have a player for these, and don't know if I ever will because, again, they were not something that really was ever really put out over here. Then two of my formats I am most excited to say I actually have collections of, one being HD VMD. This is high definition video, I'm trying to think what it's actually called. High definition versatile multimedia disc, as I believe is what it actually stands for. This is something that, in theory, should have been kind of big here in the States. This was actually meant to compete with Blu-ray and HD DVD, but it was much cheaper. So the players were cheaper, the discs were cheaper, and it might have actually had a little bit of a stronghold here in the States had it ever actually been released in the States. It was only actually released outside of the States, but you could purchase them and have them shipped here and stuff like that. But again, never was released, lasted less than a year, and then they just disappeared. There's actually very little format about, very little information about these, about this format actually on the internet, unfortunately. But very interesting, could have been pretty cool, but again, never really got released to the States, and as such, it just died out within less than a year, which is kind of a shame. They're very rare, hard to come by. Again, the fact that I actually have this nice little stack of them right here blows my mind. I never thought I'd have these. And even more rare than that is CBHD China Blue High Definition. This was China's answer to Blu-ray because China, in order to get things like Blu-rays in, they have to pay, I think, some kind of licensing fee or something like that. So they're not a big fan of things like DVDs and Blu-rays. They try to do the same thing with DVD, which didn't work. They try to do it with Blu-rays. This didn't really work. So this was their high-definition format that actually uses, and I'll show you in a little bit, the player looks almost identical to an HD DVD player, and it actually uses HD DVD technology. So very interesting, very weird, and again, very hard to come by. The players are extremely rare, and the discs are even more rare. I got very lucky. I found somebody who was actually selling a player online from China. I did actually order it from some really shady website on China that I thought my credit card information and my everything would get stolen from, but luckily I lucked out. None of that happened. Got the player, and then in the same box was a whole stack of these, so it blew my mind. And again, the fact that I can say I have a stack of these as well, again, just blows me away. They come in these really cool black cases. I love all these as well. They're really cool looking. So high definition formats, dead high definition formats, but I do love them. They're awesome. So then we go into Video 8, another failed format. As you can see, kind of just sort of a tiny VHS tape. Again, something else they tried to market. It was kind of it was after VHS. Well, VHS was still out at the time, but it was towards the end of VHS. They tried to push these kind of as just a smaller format. Doesn't take out much room. The VCRs are smaller, and best of all, camcorders at the time were using Video 8 tapes, so you could get a blank Video 8 tape, record whatever you want to record, and also collect movies on the format as well. Again, it really died out, did not catch on. The only thing these really did well in was actually for in-flight movies. If you actually watch Mission Impossible, the first one with Tom Cruise, when the movie begins and he gets his first message, he's actually picking out movies on this format. So again, it was actually kind of big in the in-flight movie industry, but that was really about it. Completely died out. Then we have Juiceware media clips. These actually play on Juiceware players. These tiny little weird, bizarre doodads here. Again, just kind of a format for children, really bad quality, just kind of a handheld device for them. Then we have a micro movie viewer. This was weird. This is more of a gimmick as opposed to actually like a real format. It's these little tiny film canisters right here. It's this endless loop of a film, and you play it in this tiny little player. Again, these weren't really ever considered like a real format. It was just kind of more something fun and novelty, but kind of interesting. I do have 2 of those. Then, into something I love, DivX. That's Digital Video Extreme. This was actually a failed rental system through Circuit City. This lasted less than a year. The idea is you bought this disc and then you had it so you actually had to put it into your player, and there was a dial-up service, and from that dial-up service, it could tell if your disc was registered to actually play and for how long you bought it to play for, and then if you wanted to watch it again, you could actually call back into that number and extend your viewing period, and you kept this, and when you were done with it, I believe there were like recycling bins at Circuit City you could just throw them into. So you were meant to buy this and then just get rid of it after you were done with it, or again keep it and then rewatch it. But unfortunately the rental system died out. Again, lasted less than a year, and these are completely 100% unwatchable now because you need the dial-up service in order to watch these, which you can't do. There is actually only one that I can watch, and I have no idea where it is. I do actually have a demo disc that does not require the dial-up service, so that's the only DivX title I can watch out of this whole pile here of DivX movies I own. The only one I can actually watch is my demo disc, but still a really weird, interesting format. Again, a failed rental system that unfortunately I can't even watch now, but still really fun to collect for. Then these are interesting. These are also meant for children. We have the Action Viewer, which is this little cassette right here. Usually has things like Disney titles, Looney Tunes, Sesame Street, things like that, just for kids to pop into their player, and there's a little crank, and you can watch a little clip of a video. And then everybody else did these. There was Action Viewer, there was Movie Viewer, which is pretty much exactly the same exact thing. Movie Viewer was Fisher-Price, and then we have Movie Cassette, which again are very similar. These are set up a little bit differently, but it's all pretty much the same exact idea. There's just a loop of film in here that just plays constantly as you reel the player. So kind of interesting. Again, it was meant for children, but still, again, fun to collect for a sort of format. Then again, for kids, we go into PVDs, our personal video discs for the Video Now player. These are some of the worst things you will ever see. The quality on these is horrible. The frame rate's bad. The audio's bad. Everything about these is bad. It's this teeny tiny little screen on a player, and it was just meant for kids to take on trips. So you give them a disc that 9 times out of 10 they horribly scratch up, put it in their player, and they can watch little videos. I think any parent with any brains would have just bought their children a portable DVD player because, yeah, they might have been a little bit more expensive, but it's better quality and it just makes more sense than ever buying these. So originally they were done in black and white, and then they went into color PVD. So color personal video discs. Same thing, little bit bigger of a disc. And these are actually in color, but the picture quality, audio quality, everything about them is still pretty much horrible. Just, again, they're in color, which is, I guess, a little bit of a bonus. Then we get into my Flex Plays, and once again, another failed rental system. These actually were meant to, once you open them up, I believe is it 48 hours or 24 hours? It's probably not going to say on here. I think it was 48 hours. You had to watch this until the disc actually went bad. The chemicals in this disc actually reacted with the air. So when you open this up, what ended up happening was the air would start to react with the chemicals, and within, like, I believe, again, it was 48 hours, the disc would go bad and you could not watch it anymore. So again, a failed rental system. These are also something that are completely unwatchable, even though this is sealed. Over the many years these have been sitting around, they've all gone bad, so you can't actually watch them, but still fun to collect for. Then we have CD-ROMs. I have a couple just random sort of videos on CD-ROM. Let's see if I have anything good here. I mean, some stuff like this, like the Daredevil CD-ROM digital press kit. That's pretty fun. So some kind of weird stuff like that. Then into the, this is the N-Power Fusion. This was a little thing Nickelodeon did, again, for kids. It was a little handheld device that actually played these little preloaded SD cards. This one here is Invader Zim. Again, it's just an SD card. You popped in and you can watch your videos on that. I got a few of those. And then Disney did the same exact thing with their Disney Max clips. And once again, just a preloaded SD card. That is it, that plays in their little player. And they're pretty much the same exact thing. You can actually swap these out. You can watch the Disney Max clips in the N-Power Fusion and the N-Power Fusion clips in the Disney Max player. Doesn't really matter because, again, it's just SD cards. This is a ViewMaster Double View. Kind of the same thing as the micro movie viewer or the action viewer or the movie viewer. Again, just for kids, just a continuous reel of a clip of Godzilla or Mr. Magoo. That's about it. But again, just a fun little gimmick for kids. Then we get into CD video, and that's not video CD. This is CD video, which is actually a completely different format. They come with these really cool gold discs. That's how you can tell them apart from regular CDs. Again, really weird. Not a lot of these put out. It didn't last very long. Mostly from what I've seen online, it was a lot of music videos that were released on these. So kind of weird. So again, that's CD video, but then into something more common, which is video CD. I got plenty of these, everything from foreign titles, lots of foreign titles, into some more common stuff like, let's see if I actually find any real movies here. Like, here we go, like things like anger management, titles like that. Even things like CDI movies. Now, there are two types of these. There are video CD CDI movies, and then there are CDI movies that are actually on the CDI format, and we'll take a look at that in a second. So again, I got plenty of those. It is a pretty common format. And then we do go into CDI here. Let's find a good one. Here we go. The Hunt for Red October. Again, this is actually CDI format, not video CD. So this will not play in a DVD player that plays video CD, whereas something like this will play in anything that plays video CD. This will only play in a CDI player. And yes, a lot of people think CDI is simply just a video game system. It is not. The entire point of CDI was kind of a play-all format device. It played music, it played movies, it played video games, it did everything. And again, it included movies. So pretty interesting. I have a few of those. All right. So again, should we go into the VHS? Sure. All right. Well, we actually have to go over here then, because VHS starts over here.
Going this way.
Okay. You're gonna go. Okay. You go that way. I'll go this way. Hey! All right. So I have my VHS separated by the standard paper sleeves and then clamshells and stuff like that. We'll take a look at those in a minute. So again, these are all sort of my standard paper sleeved VHS, starting with numbers and then A's and B's, the same way pretty much everything's set up within my collection. And they go across each row and down. And the reason why I have them on their side as opposed to straight up and down like that is just because I can fit a lot more on these shelves if I do it that way. And the nice thing about VHS is 9 times out of 10, with the exception of a few, they do have the titles on the top, so it makes it quite easy. So we go from there onto this shelf and down there, and then over here onto this shelf, and again across and just all the way down. And then we jump all the way down here. We actually go onto this shelf over here. Get a shot. There we go. Again, just down. Simple. And then, of course, all the way across these rows here. Just like on my DVDs on the other side, since the top isn't actually separated, they do go from here all the way down to the very end. And then from there, we do go by shelf, so actually sections. So they go across and down this section, and then the next section, and then this section, and then this section here. And then because I just wanted to fill in some space, I did this. So that's that. Back here, there's nothing back here. Eventually, there's a shelf back here that will be filled with VHS at some point. All right, yeah, let's go into my my CEDs, my capacitance electronic disc. Wait, no. Before we do that, we have to take a look at my one. Whoa, that's not good. My one, what's this called? VHD. This was, again, a weird format that was not something here in the States. This was actually, I believe, mostly, I think it was Japan. Very interesting, very similar to CED. The actual disc is inside this case here, as you can see. Kind of looks like almost looks like a big, like floppy disk. It's like a giant floppy disk. Again, the movie's actually inside here. You put it into your player and it does its thing. Very interesting. Again, something else I sadly will probably never have an actual player for. Maybe someday, but we'll see. Very cool that the only one I have, though, is Howard the Duck. I love that. So again, now into actually CED, capacitance electronic disc. These are weird. By far, one of the worst formats ever made, but at the same time, in my opinion, one of the most interesting formats ever made. I highly recommend doing some research on these. Look it up on Wikipedia. I'm not going to get into it. They did not last very long. By the time these actually were released, the format was already dead. Laserdisc was already out, and VHS and Beta were on their way. So by the time these actually finally made it into the market, the format was done and over with. But they actually did release quite a few titles on this format for something that only lasted a couple years. And they are all just down here. As you can see, I have plenty of these as well, starting here, going across, and then going down as well. You may notice some are white and some are blue. Very simple. If they have a white case, it's mono, and if it has a blue case, it's in stereo. And if it has a black case, it's just Disney being weird and making a black case. I have no idea why they did that. These are also extremely heavy as well. Lifting about 2 of these is like 20 tons. It's crazy how heavy these things are. Moving them was not fun. All right, how about Laserdisc next? Now, Laserdisc is one of my all-time favorite formats to collect for. It's probably my all-time favorite format, I would say. It's kind of like how people really are into vinyl. They love the look of it, the artwork for it, and everything like that. I'm kind of the same way. I love the artwork. I just love everything there is about Laserdisc. It's the first actual format also meant for a collector. Things like commentary, special features, things that became very standard on DVDs that all started with Laserdisc. So up top here, we have all my big box sets, things like the Star Wars trilogy, which I actually have 2 different releases of, all kinds of cool stuff. Golden Age of Looney Tunes, my Toy Story Deluxe CAV Laserdisc Edition, Fantasia, Wizard of Oz, Star Trek movies, Beatles anthology, a lot of really cool stuff there. And then just like every other format, it goes from numbers, A's, B's, C's, and so on and so forth. They go all the way across and of course down again. And then over here, back around, I know, and then down here and down there, ending here in Z, eventually, obviously, to continue on into this space and so on and so forth. Plenty of these. 9 times out of 10, if it's something, if it's cheap, I'm gonna buy it on Laserdisc. If it's a movie, well, I should say, if it's a movie I'm interested in, if I have no interest in the movie whatsoever, I'll pass on it. But as long as it's a movie that I enjoy to at least some extent, if it's cheap, I'm gonna buy it on Laserdisc because I just love collecting these. So, okay, now that we're back over here, let's get back into VHS. And this is where I keep all my clamshells and the like big boxes and things like that. So as you can see, each row is actually doubled up. You can see that there. So I just have a shelf back there. These shelves are deep enough to double up the VHS, so I did do that. It saves up a lot of space. We have things like my Walt Disney Masterpiece Collection releases. I have all those. I have all the Diamond releases as well. A lot of interesting things, like a lot of Disney. A lot of this is Disney. Some cool things like these weird foreign releases. I have a ton of, like, again, these weird, bizarre foreign releases. They're great. So they go all the way up, all the way down. Then they come around to the other side over here. Move that stuff out of the way. Again, starting up here, now we're getting into things like, you can see, here's some big box stuff like, oh, Love it. My Silent Night, Deadly Night box set. So some really cool stuff like that. And now I can't get it back in there. There we go. So some interesting stuff like that. Again, more clamshells. Box sets, like things like my Scream box set. Just some weird stuff like that. Basically, some kind of more oversized VHS packaging. Some more smaller clamshells like that. So again, they go just across and all the way down to the bottom. And then, again, let me move this cart out of the way. And then from over here, we go into my Beta collection. Not Betamax. Betamax is a brand. Beta is the format. So again, kind of, these are actually separated very similar to my DVDs in the sense that they're separated by cases. I have like larger cases, then into kind of standard VHS size cases. They did this weird thing where they put Beta in VHS size cases. Then into some more clamshells and some more actual Beta size sleeves. And they take up this whole entire section right here. Again, they are doubled up as well. And then just the end of my Beta. So I don't have a ton of Beta, but a decent amount. Film. All right. Again, guys, 40 different formats. So actually, let's go on this side first. So I do collect film as well. These right here, this is actually 35mm film. This is the one and only full entire 35mm print of a movie I have. That is Scenes from a Mall, the Woody Allen Bette Midler movie. So it's on 5 reels. And yes, that is actually a 35mm print that you would get, or you would see, or they would use in a movie theater from back in the day. So pretty awesome. Really enjoyed that I can actually say I have an actual full film on 35mm film. Very cool. These are all 16mm releases right here. Things like episodes of like M Squad, Felony Squad, Pink Panther, just some weird stuff like that. And then on the other side here, this is also 35mm, but these are film trailers. So if you watched a movie back in the day in a theater that was using film, the actual trailers you would see before the movie were not actually part of the film reel. They were spliced in, and this is what you had. You had these smaller, I'll just pull one out here. You have these smaller little film reels right there that they would just splice onto the front of the movie so they could change out the trailers for them. Like this is the actual film trailer for Free Willy. I actually do come across these every so often, but I've stopped picking them up. I only kind of get ones that are more interesting to me now, because if I just bought all the ones I come across, I'd have like a million of those. So we don't need to do that. Then into some more film. We have all my Super 8 film here, and this is all my 8mm film right there. So a decent, okay, collection of that. Yeah, what else? What are you saying? What else? What other formats?
UMDs?
Yes. Oh, well, yeah, right here. Oh, wait, well, this cart usually doesn't get in the way, but when you're filming, it does. We'll talk about the cart in a while. So, okay, how about my DVD-Rs and my one and only BD-R as well? So these are DVD-R, my entire DVD-R collection. And a lot of people ask, what are DVD-Rs? DVD recordables? Yes, that is exactly what they are. These are actually manufacturer on-demand titles put out by people. This is put out by Columbia TriStar, so Sony. A more familiar one is the Warner Archives collection. You order these offline, and they make them as you order them. You order it, they make it, they print out the artwork, and they ship it to you. For some reason, I find these out in the wild just quite often. A few of these I've actually bought offline. Like I remember buying some of the Flintstone releases. Those I actually bought from Warner Brothers. But I'd say 95% of these were all just found in the wild. Again, I have no idea how that's even possible, but as you can see, it clearly is. I do come across these every so often. And there's all different types of releases. Everything from Warner Brothers, Sony, Fox did them, Biography Channel, Disney, Nickelodeon, all kinds of weird stuff. So again, all DVD-R formats. And then my one and only BD-R. This is actually Blu-ray recordable. Yeah, so they did a few titles like that as well. Some companies released some stuff, some manufacturer on-demand Blu-rays. That's the only one of those I have. So again, all my DVDRs and my one and only BDR. And then on to my, as Rick falls over poles, then we go on to my UMD videos. And yes, I said UMD video, not UMD video games. These are all just video format. I do not actually collect any UMD games. It's all just movies. So things like The Craft and Blade and Bad Santa and all kinds of fun stuff like that. There were actually a ton of movies and TV shows and documentaries and music videos and whatnot actually put onto this format. When I first started collecting for this format, which it became very quickly one of my favorite formats to collect for, I did not realize just how many movies and whatnot had been put on this format. There is a lot, and if you're taking into consideration US releases and European releases, there are a ton. So as you can see, I have a lot of these. I actually do owe a lot of this collection owes a lot of credit to one special viewer, you know who you are, who actually sent me a ton of these over from Europe. As you can see, some of them are like European releases. Yeah, I got so many from this one viewer, which was awesome. So my UMD video collection, I love picking stuff up for this. It's actually a really good format. It's DVD quality that played on your Sony PSP. So other formats, I do have my Game Boy Advance. I guess is that about it? My Game Boy Advance videos. Whoa, here, go in there. I'll slide around you. Whoa, you're gonna make everybody dizzy. Over here. If you guys get sick in this video, it's all Rick's fault. So I guess the only other format I have that I can think of, this is my Game Boy Advance video collection. And again, not video games. These are Game Boy Advance videos. So it's movies and TV shows, like episodes of TV shows, actually put onto those cartridges. And this is the entire collection. This is every single Game Boy Advance video that has ever been released. Every single cart. So I do have the entire collection. I have them framed because it looks nice. Some people do ask, how do I watch these? There's a hinge on this side. I can literally just take this down and take any of those out. But for now, they're on display because I think they look pretty nice up there. And again, that is the entire collection. Every single one of those ever put out. So, oh, we almost forgot this. My one and only cart revision title. I'm not a big fan of boxing, but these are rare and expensive. This is the first ever home video format. Kind of looks like a big giant square VHS tape, and it's pretty much sort of the same. Again, this is the first ever home video format. Came out before VHS was ever a thing. These are pretty cool. I love the idea of these, but again, they're expensive. I don't see them very often. When they do come up on places like eBay and whatnot, they usually go for a ton of money, and I just picked up this one because it was cheap. So unfortunately, the only one I have is a boxing one, but at least it's Muhammad Ali, which is kind of cool. But hopefully I'll get some more of those in the future. But that is my one and only cart revision title. So I think that's well, yeah, but that's about it for all my different formats, right? I think. Yeah, you can talk, Ricky. You don't have to just point at stuff.
That's what I'm good at in your videos, not talking.
That's true. So I do think that is about it for all my formats. If I think of something else, I'll bring it up. So let's talk about what's on these shelves right here. This is all my large packaging. So you're gonna find everything from DVDs, Blu-rays, VHS, Beta, even. I think that's pretty much about it. So you're going to find all kinds of different formats on these shelves, and these side shelves right here. Got some stuff on this side as well. So again, tons of different stuff. Again, these are all just big box sets. So things like Planet of the Apes and stuff like that. Cool things like this, like, I guess this was for teachers. This is for classrooms. A biography set. Again, just all sorts of interesting things. You got some Blu-ray right here with the Nutty Professor set. It's all sorts of stuff like that. And even, like I said, some beta. Like, this here's a beta set. I mean, that's really, really cool. Some of my favorite things on here, though, are definitely by far some gems. My wife always jokes with me, if the house is burning down, there's a good chance I won't be running to save my wife or my child. I'll be coming downstairs to save these. That's not true, but we joke about it because these are definitely gems in my collection. These here are my Disney treasure sets, and I definitely treasure my Disney treasure sets. I love these things. But the actual tins they come in are kind of big, so that's why I put them on these shelves here. So again, this is all just my oversized packaging, stuff that's just way too big to go anywhere else within my collection. I guess we'll take a look at these. So up here with my cart revision is my one and only big sleeve edition Blu-ray release. Only one of these I have. This is actually from Europe. It's Beauty and the Beast, sent to me by a viewer. These are pretty cool. I actually really like these. As a fan of Laserdiscs, these really do speak to me. They're pretty neat. I don't really like how the discs are packaged inside the case. They're in like sleeves. That's never a good thing, but it is still pretty cool, and I do really enjoy the idea of this packaging. It's pretty neat, and again, the one and only one of those I have. Then a Laserdisc I definitely had to have on display. My Spice World Laserdisc, I will be buried with this. I've already discussed it with my wife. When I die, this here will be in the coffin with me. I love this thing. I'm a big fan of the movie, and it took me a long time to hunt down a Laserdisc copy. Just like with the CBHD titles I ordered, this I also got off some really shady website that I was expecting my credit card information to be stolen from, but I lucked out. That did not happen, and I actually do own a copy of Spice World on Laserdisc, and that is awesome. Again, that's about it for my formats, I think. So, we can take a look at my two cinematic formats. CDs first?
Sure.
How do I want to go about filming this? Yeah. These are up in my rafters, as you can see. I actually did take advantage of the space in my rafters, and I built shelves up there, and I have all my CDs up there. It's one other format I do collect for, everything from, soundtracks to just regular CDs. They go pretty much all the way up until, I think, like this row right here. They end somewhere. So, again, just all the way across the entire library. Yeah, it's really hard to film all that, as you can see. Kind of difficult to see up in there, but those are all my CDs. And the one other format I collect for is Game Boy. I'm not really a big gamer. I certainly played a lot of games as a kid, and to this day I still do love games, but I'm usually too busy watching movies to play games, which is why I don't really play games. But I do have a soft spot for Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance, and this is my collection right here. We have all my Game Boy games in here, all my Game Boy Color games, and all my Game Boy Advance games, and then here's just some miscellaneous stuff, Game Boys and cables and all kind of like the e-reader card, or the card e-reader, whatever it's called, weird thing. So all kinds of different stuff there. So again, that's the only video games I collect for, and I like it because I can play it on the go, and what I love about the Game Boy Advance is the fact that it does play Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games. So I just love having that. Usually when I go on a car trip or down to Disney or something like that, I will bring my Game Boy Advance with me in a couple games, and I can just play them when I feel like it. So again, the only games I actually do collect for. And again, I do think that's sort of about it for media. I guess I'll show this off quickly. I do actually have up there, all throughout the actual library, I take some bigger sort of box sets. Not box sets that wouldn't normally fit on the shelves, but basically box sets that would fit on the standard shelves. And I just put them up there to make some room. I mean, why have, a box set that takes up that much room on a shelf when I could just stick it up on top and have it look nice and be out of the way. So you'll see all throughout the actual library, up in the little areas there, in the rafters, just some box sets. Again, I think that's about it for my media. I can't really think of any more media I have to show you guys. So I guess from there, we'll take a look at all my different players and TV setups and whatnot. So this is kind of the new, I guess you would say, theater nook, if you will, of my library. You come in closer or no?
I was standing back so they could kind of see from the perspective. From the perspective
of me. So again, this is kind of my theater area of my library now. I have my nice 55-inch 4K 3D TV mounted up on the wall. Some people do question about it being mounted up that high, but I think in video and in pictures, it looks worse than it is. Sitting here on my couch, it's perfectly fine. You're not straining your neck. I have no issues. I've been down here with my son and my wife watching movies, and nobody has any issues watching a movie from here on the couch to the TV. It works just fine. So I like it mounted up there. It's out of the way, doesn't take up space. Then we have one of my pride and joys. Rick is shaking his head, and I'll explain that story in a minute. Let's move this out of the way. There we go. One of my pride and joys. This here is my HD CRT TV. Yes, an actual CRT, cathode ray tube HD TV. It's only 720, but it's pretty fantastic that this actually has HDMI hookups in the back. I've been wanting to get one of these in my collection for a very long time. I figured someday maybe I'd get like a smaller one, just because they're kind of expensive. But I actually came across one of these, I believe it was this spring, I think it was. Yeah, this spring, I found one of these at a yard sale. The guy was just giving it away. Big sign on the front that said free. And I understand why. This thing weighs close to 200 pounds. It is a beast. It is insane. Me, Rick, and it was Joe, right? Joe, we all carried this thing downstairs. It wasn't easy. It was insane getting this from my car in the garage down here into the library. It was nuts, but it is here, and I love it, and I love watching all my standard definition formats on this. VHS, DVDs I watch on my HDTV, but Laserdisc, Beta, CED, things like that look amazing on this TV. VHS look really good on this TV, so I love this thing. It is a pride and joy of my collection. Hopefully it'll never die because, again, it weighs so much, and moving this out of here, let's not think about ever moving this again. So, awesome. All right, on to players now. So, can you see these all right? So we have all different players down here. Everything from this here being what's the word I'm looking for? 4K, sorry, yeah, 4K Blu-ray player right here. This is a DVD VHS combo player that actually has HDMI output. So again, it's really nice to hook up my, or to play my VHS tapes in here onto my HD CRT TV. This is a Super Blue player, which actually plays both Blu-ray and HD DVD. And best of all, it's actually region-free. So HD DVDs are already region-free, but Blu-rays are not. And I can play any region Blu-ray on this. It's really cool. This is my Laserdisc player. It's actually a dual-sided player, meaning that Laserdiscs, for those of you who do not know, are double-sided. So when the laser is done reading one side of the disc, and normally you would have to open it up, flip the disc, put it back in, the laser actually stops, flips over, and reads the other side of the disc. It's pretty nice. I love this thing right here. This is my HD VMD player. Again, to say I actually have one of these is pretty fantastic. I love it. I believe it or not have two of these in box, which is crazy. This is my CBHD player. Again, that's China Blue High Definition. As you can see, it looks almost identical to my HD DVD player because, again, it is pretty much the same exact format. No, you cannot watch CBHD in an HD DVD player or HD DVDs in a CBHD player. The format is technically different, but it uses the same technology, which is why they're very similar looking as far as players and discs and everything. So, very awesome. This is a region-free DVD player. I just have this because it's easy to play any region DVDs on. This is my video CD player. I don't really need this. Many of these players here do play VCDs, but it's kind of cool just to have a dedicated VCD player. And this is my Magnavox CDI player right here. So that's awesome. Again, not to play video games, just CDI movies. I do also have a Roku and a Apple TV down there as well. I used to have them hooked up all the time, but I don't really hook those up too much anymore. Then in this cabinet here, oh, you wanna come around? All right, then in this cabinet here, by the way, this cabinet I love. This is my Windows 95 computer. My father-in-law actually built this for me. And again, this is only to play my movie CDs on. This thing is awesome. It's a lot of fun to watch stuff on that. Then I do actually, well, I have a pair of Shutter 3D glasses right there. Then in here, this is my GameCube, which again, I do not actually use to play GameCube games. I use this because I have the Game Boy Advance adapter, and I do play my Game Boy Advance games on there if I want to play them on my TV. This here is, I'm killing my knees here. Okay, this is my DivX DVD player. This is how you would have played DivX DVDs. On the back of this, there's actually a plug for your phone jack, and this would actually dial out to the dial out service. I basically own this because, well, it's kind of cool to have a DivX enhanced DVD player, but I can play my one and only DivX disc on here. This is a Nuon enhanced DVD player, as you can see right there. This here plays the entire library of 4 Nuon enhanced DVDs. That was it. It was a very failed idea, and I can understand why. Basically, Nuon DVDs had some extra bonus special features, but they weren't features that really mattered. So that didn't last very long. Again, only 4 titles were ever released with Nuon features. This is my DVHS player. This is how I play my 1080i VHS. Then it's my Beta VCR, and this is my CED player, my capacitance electronic disc player down there. So that is pretty much it for my sort of standard players. Oh my gosh, I'm getting too old for this. Then, of course, we have rewinders. We have my VHS rewinder, Beta rewinder, and one of my pride and joys, a Video 8 rewinder. That was a really cool find. I was pretty excited about that. No, I do not have these hooked up at all times. The only ones I have actually hooked up are my VCR, my DVD VCR combo, and my Blu-ray player. Those I always have hooked up. Otherwise, I hook these up as needed. The back of this, if you want to come around back here. As you can see, the back of this is all completely open. I can get to anything I want. If I need to plug one of these in, I just plug what I need to plug into whatever TV, and I'm pretty much good to go. I also store this back here as well. This is my Mickey Mouse monitor. I actually really like to watch my my Windows 98 titles on that, which I do use occasionally. So that is that for those players. All right, then we'll come over here. I have some more players this way. You okay over there, Rick?
Doing great.
You're being a champ. All right, so now on to portable players. So there were those things like those cartridges like the Fisher-Price movie viewer, and that is what these were for. You would put the cart in there and just look in this. That's basically what you're doing. Again, this is for a kid. It just plays a little clip of a video. That's about it. So that was for Fisher-Price movie viewer. This is the movie viewer, and then this was the action viewer. All very, very, very similar devices. Again, just for kids. Then we have this is my. This is actually a Video 8 camcorder. Most people would use these for filming their vacations and whatnot onto Video 8. But the best thing about this is it actually has audio-video outputs. And unfortunately, Video 8 VCRs are extremely rare and extremely expensive, and finding them is not easy. But if you come across one of these, which pretty much go to any pawn shop, thrift store, or not thrift store, pawn shop, I guess, yard sale, flea market, anything like that, you're probably going to find these sitting around, and these you can get for like $1 or $2, and as long as they have audio video outputs, you can basically use one of these as a VCR, and that's what I do. I play my Video 8 titles on here. So then we have my mini DVD player. This was a really interesting idea. I believe it was Warner Brothers and is it Tiger? I think it was Tiger Electronics. They actually got together and thought to release these to kids, and they released a lot of titles on mini DVD, and then these little mini DVD players to go along with it, and it was, again, an idea of a portable sort of media device for kids. Never took off. All right, then this is the Disney Max Clip player thing, whatever you want to call it. Again, just a portable device for kids. I love the fact that the back of this is actually Pirates of the Caribbean. That is awesome. There were a few choices. I picked up Pirates. Then we have, this is the N-Power Fusion. This was Nickelodeon's. Again, SD card reader, just like, these are both basically SD card readers for the most part. Disney, Nickelodeon, pretty much the same exact idea. It is basically the same exact format. This one here actually is really cool because it has SpongeBob on the back. I really do like that. Then we have my Sony PSPs. This is a PSP 3000 US model to play all my UMD videos on, not UMD games, just UMD videos. And then I actually have a Region 2 because unfortunately UMD games are not region locked, but UMD videos are. So if you want to play Region 2 UMD videos, which again a viewer sent me a ton of, that viewer actually also sent me this so I can actually watch my Region 2 UMD videos on that. Well, I'll show you this one first. This is the Video Now player for the personal video discs. Yeah, as you can see, this thing was just garbage. Put the disc in there. You watch your tiny little black and white video on that little tiny screen that's in really bad quality. It's horrible. Then again, they upgraded with this. This is the Video Now XP. There are actually a few other models in between these as well. But this one here does play personal video disc color. Yeah, again, basically the same exact thing. A little bit bigger of a screen. Picture was in color, but pretty much just horrible quality. This is the mini, what was it, mini movie viewer, what it was called? Kind of the same thing as these here, sort of. It was just little tiny cartridges you stick in here, and this was actually battery powered, and you just point it up to a light source, push that little button, and it actually plays your little clips. This is the Juice Box player. Played those little Juice Box cartridges I have. This thing, again, kind of garbage. Picture quality and everything was pretty bad on it. What's the worst part about these are, if you see it's all like sticky and gross, that's not because of anything I did or because I bought this secondhand from a kid. That's because whatever rubber they use this rubber substance for like shock absorbance, I guess, protection. Over the years, it has deteriorated and become sticky. I had one of these that I bought opened and it was sticky, and I thought, okay, again, it was just from usage of a kid. Then I bought one brand new, factory sealed, same exact thing. So again, it just kind of deteriorates over the years, which is a shame. And then I do actually keep a Game Boy Advance player right here because I like to play my Game Boy Advance videos on this as well. So that is it for all my players. I do believe that's all my stuff hooked up to my TV and all my portable devices. I guess quickly we'll take a look at all my different TVs. I do actually have it down here so that I can play, slide around you, so I can play pretty much anything on 4 different TVs. As you can see, I have my main TV. I have that little one over there as well, which I technically don't need that one, but it's more of a pain actually to take that down because there's some like stuff behind it. So I just kept that up. That's from back when the library was rearranged a little bit differently, but again, it looks good there, so I did keep it there. We have the TV behind Rick over there. And then I'll slide around you. We have the TV all the way down here at the very end. So those are all my different TVs. The reason I have that is because pretty much no matter where I am in the theater, I can always see a TV, and it's really cool to have it. It kind of gives me the illusion also of like an old rental store, which is sort of a kind of a feel I was going for. If you guys remember going into old rental stores back in the day, they would have TVs mounted everywhere. So I kind of wanted to do that. I'm sure at some point I'll have more TVs down here, but for now, just those. Here's what I'm breathing in all this dust. Here's something I forgot to show off. My projectors. How do I play my film? On my projectors, we have a 16mm projector, 16mm projector, 8mm projector, and then, do we want to flip around over here? And then we have a Super 8 projector, this is a Dual 8 projector. This will play actually Super 8 and 8mm, and then this is my Super 8 projector right here. So those are all my different projectors. No, I do not have a 35mm projector. Those are huge and gigantic, require like a ventilation system. I will probably never have one of those. Where next, Rick? I have no idea. Okay, we did projectors and TVs and formats. We did all my different players. I think we're good for that. Should I start showing off all kinds of other just weird odds and ends down here?
Why not?
All right. So let's take a look at kind of like decor and the way things are sort of set up. I'll show this off quickly. Up here, which I'm not going to pull down because it's kind of a pain, but this right up there is actually a projector screen, so I can play my film projectors onto that. I'll set my projectors up over there, and I can actually shine them onto the screen there. So that's that. All right, so I guess more onto kind of sort of decor. Well, while we're here, I get asked about these quite often. Why do I have these adults only signs? Well, because back here, there is a, you're not going to be able to see it, but back here there is a spigot, water spigot. Behind this one is a water meter, and then most importantly, behind this one is the main water shutoff to the entire house, which obviously is something you want to be able to get to if needed. So I had to leave this space open to get to all three of those things in case of an emergency, and I wanted to figure out a way to hide them. And I came up with this idea of, again, kind of keeping in line with the idea and the traditions of an old rental store. I did this adults-only section, like you would see, again, in an old rental store where they would keep all their porn and their 18 and older media behind a red curtain. I did the same thing. So I thought it was an interesting idea, again, kind of just a throwback to old rental stores. Okay. We have my C and my S, just light up C and S, obviously for cinema sickness. They're just kind of cool. I like those. My old Hollywood video card and my old Blockbuster video card. Those are my old membership cards. I used to have more. I threw them out. I was an idiot. I shouldn't have done that, but at least I have those two still. Of course, we have things like my trusty table. All kinds of odds and ends in there. This one keeps all my different remotes. I am not the type of guy to have a universal remote. I like to have the actual remotes that go to the actual players. I know it's crazy. Why not get one remote that does everything? But I don't do that. My lovely couch that I can watch my movies on, yes.
It's where the magic happens.
Right here. There we go. My Mickey, my Cinema Sickness hat. Then we got things like my George of the Jungle display up there. That was actually given to me by a viewer. It came in a very gigantic box. It was crazy. That's an old, I believe, McDonald's display. Then we have, these are great. These actually came from a lady who used to run a rental store, and I believe it was one of her relatives or her husband or something actually worked for a movie theater or actually ran a movie theater, and she had all these old displays. We got things like my Chevy Chase Funny Farm, Home Alone 3. Let's see, back here we have some more. Beverly Hillbillies. Just these really cool displays. Let's see what's back here. Then we have my Free Willy. And Batman Forever. Another U. That's about it for, I believe, those displays. We have things like this. These are really cool. These came from a closing. What was the name of that store?
Suncoast?
Suncoast. I was going to say Hollywood, but you're right. Suncoast Video. Suncoast Video, we went to one that was going out of business, and they had all of these little displays, and I asked the manager, could I just scoop them all up and take them? And she said yes. So I have these all throughout the theater. These are really, really cool. I have a whole bunch of these. As you can see, they're just really neat display pieces. I love those. Things like my West Coast Video VHS head cleaner inside a Critics' Choice video case, which is kind of odd. I got these little signs right here, like to refrain from talking. On the other side is if you have a candy wrapper, open it before the movie starts. So some weird things like that. My cat, yes. Oh, what are you showing off? My Casper?
Yep.
Yes, my Casper display. This also came from the lady whose relative ran the movie theater. These up here, those are actual cups that were for, I believe it was Wendy's, back when the Jetsons movie came out. These are actual display pieces that were meant to hang up inside the actual, inside the stores. Got those for, I think, like $2 total or something like that from a guy at a flea market. Those were cool. I had to get them to hang them up. All right, over here. Then we have, okay, here's actually another collection that I have. I do collect Disney pins as well. I'm really into pin trading, and I do have a bunch of different pins. As you can see, they take up all that space, and eventually will probably go all the way down to the floor. But for now, that is my Disney pin collection, so just another random sort of thing I do collect. We have my Jurassic World little marquee display. I don't know what this is. This is from Walmart, actually. They were just throwing these out, and I asked if I could have it. They said yes. Then my one and only full-size poster, and of course that is dedicated to one of the greatest movies of all time, Spice World. Rick, shut up. Spice World is awesome. Great movie. So there's that. Again, Beverly Hillbillies decal. Batman decal, MST3K decal, my Tigger movie poster. I love that thing. These are from the Disney, I believe it was movie club. They're like exclusives. One of my viewers gave these to me. Eventually, this whole panel will probably be replaced with Disney pins at some point. We have my my Mickey Mouse light switch cover. I love that thing. Very cool, vintage. All right, my Everybody Deserves a Reward Blockbuster rewards card. Yes, Rick used to actually work at Blockbusters. He remembers that. I got this from a closing Blockbuster. I got a bunch of stuff from them. That was really cool. Fright Night movie poster, Scott Pilgrim. Other side over here is Metropolis. Okay, then we have things like, again, from Blockbuster Video, my Blu-ray sign here, Wizard poster. This is actually really cool. This is a Blu-ray poster that was given out to stores that were just getting in Blu-rays for the first time. These were meant to like hang up in the back stock room. Oh, above you. We have my DVD video sign. As I've stated, yeah, can you get that in the video? As I've stated, here, do you need me to do it? Here.
I got it.
Oh, there we go. DVD video. All right. As I've stated before in videos, this will always somehow be hanging up in my library because I love this thing so much. And I was a little nervous when I did the moving of everything. Where was I going to put this? And I managed to get it right here, and I love it. This came from a closing Boulder store. They were doing an Everything Must Go, including all fixtures, and this was hanging like 20 feet up on a wall. And I asked about the sign. They said, sure, take this ladder and this very sharp knife and go to town. And I climbed up to the very top of the ladder, sort of hacking away at the wall. Probably could have killed myself and died, but they didn't really seem to care. And I didn't either because I got a really cool DVD video sign out of it. This is my random Captain America shield because, again, it's kind of cool and I like it. Oh, over here. My Disney Store Elena of Avalor thing. That's neat. Oh, again, more from a closing Blockbuster video. Gonna bring back bad memories for Rick.
It was one of my favorite jobs.
Was it really?
Yeah.
All right. If it was Walmart, that'd be one of your, yeah. So again, both from a closing Blockbuster. I love this one. The viewer, or the viewer, what? Horror. Watch them in Creepy Tonight. This makes me laugh because the movies they chose for horror were Red Dragon and Misery. Now, good movies, but if I was making a horror marquee, I think I'd pick different titles than Red Dragon and Misery. I don't know. That's just me. We have some Game Boy Advance signs. I believe these were things like. Well, be careful here. You're gonna really confuse people holding the camera like that. You gotta keep that camera straight. If you guys are puking your guts out right now, I do apologize. That's all Rick's fault.
You're welcome.
Then we have some things like my Tyler Main Sign H2 poster and my Paul Bennell sign poster for Ghastly Love of Johnny X. Yeah, over here. Oh wait, up there. My DivX display. Look at that thing. That is actually a legitimate DivX display that was meant for where were DivX again?
Circuit
City. That was meant to be actually put up in Circuit City, so very awesome. Little rare. Blu-ray marquee. This also came from a closing, what was that? Suncoast. From a Suncoast video. Again, these were just kind of marquees they had. Asked about that. They said I could have it. Then because I'm weird, I just have my Mickey, Donald, and Goofy back scratcher because why not? I do also have all my press badges and convention badges and whatnot and vendor badges from every time I go to a convention. Up top, Pixels box, display box, Sharknado 2 with Jared, which is a little creepy. Here we go, my little Blockbuster what do you call those?
Gift card.
Gift card, thank you. I'm losing my mind. Gift card, which obviously is not good anymore. High C Ecto Cooler, and then these are really awesome. These are actual legitimate Freddy's Dead 3D glasses from the actual movie. They even still have the Barg's root beer little coupon on the side. Okay, I know I'm forgetting stuff. So I guess that's kind of about it for, I believe, display pieces. Oh, here, my Santa Claus Conquers the Martian DVD. I do already have this in a different release, but a viewer actually sent that to me, and I thought it was so cool that I had to hang it up because it's one of the coolest DVD artworks I've ever seen. Oh yes, up there. Turn off your cell phones. And then on the other side, this is actually really cool. I actually won this in a contest. That is a sign from an old theater, an auditorium theater that used to actually be in the area that went out of business years ago that I actually used to go to as a kid. So that's pretty cool. I guess we'll show off my lights now. So I do have this one light up here. This I actually put up because every now and then when you're down here, all this really harsh neon lighting can kind of get to you. So sometimes if I just want to chill and relax and just have a nice warm light, I'll turn off all the lights except for that one, and it's a very nice kind of like a warm light, and it's just very makes you kind of feel at home, and it's nice to watch a movie with just that one light on. That's actually controlled by just a little switch back here. Just for display purposes, I did put my Camp Crystal Lake pennant on there. Okay, then obviously the lights turn off just like that. But this is interesting. This little switch right here, this actually controls different lights within the library. For instance, well, I'll show you over here. Underneath the TV there, let's see if I'm doing this correctly. There we go. Turns off that, and also Rick wants to turn around. There, did you get that? So that controls those two lights. If you want to show up in the rafters, I do have Christmas lights, and the reason I have lights up there is because it was very difficult to see my my CDs. The rafters, obviously, it's very dark up there, and to have my CDs up there, you couldn't see them. You would want to find a title, and it would be very difficult. So I put those lights up just to make it easier, and that's all controlled by, again, the switch on and off. And then back here, I put some lights back here as well, because of course back here was it was extremely dark back here. It was like pitch black back here. So of course, again, on and off. So that's why I have that. I can turn them on and off as needed. So if I just come down here and all I'm doing is watching a movie or working on my computer or doing something over in that section, there's no need to use any of these lights whatsoever. But if I want to come back here, I can turn them on as needed. So it's kind of nice not to have them on at all times. Well, here's some more display pieces. We have my Star Wars Bluetooth speaker, which I occasionally use, not too often, but it's kind of cool because it's a TIE fighter. That's awesome. And I don't know, Rick, I think that might be about it. I can't think of anything else I want to show you guys. That is until I'm done this video, and then I'll think of 20 more things. Here we go. People do ask about these spacer cards a lot. I have them for these giant ones for my Laserdiscs. I have them for over here. I have them for my Blu-rays and my DVDs as well. People ask where I get them. I get them from a place called Bags Unlimited. BagsUnlimited.com. Really cool website. You can get like Blu-ray cases, DVD cases, all kinds of cool things like that. And then these little spacer cards. And I just get the blank ones, and I make my own labels for them because you can make them say whatever you want. And when you have a lot of weird formats, you need to make them say whatever you want. So that's where I get those because people do ask about that a lot. They're really cool. And again, I think that might be about it until, again, I think of like 20 more things to tell you guys about. Quickly, let me actually, for those of you who have been watching for a while, some people did ask me why I went through the whole process of moving everything and rearranging everything down here in the library. And is my lighting good? Should I move? The reason why I did that is because I was not 100% happy with the way things were set up down here. When I first moved the library down here, I had stuff set up that made sense for the way my library was and the size it was at the time. But as things grew, I was kind of shoehorning in shelves. I would need a new shelf for DVDs. I would just kind of slide something in, and I was kind of trying to make room for everything for an old setup. So by this time, this many years later, I knew it was time to rearrange everything and have it all set up to properly house my current situation. And that's why I moved everything the way I needed to move it. So now it makes more sense. The aisles are actually bigger. I mean, I can walk through here without having to Rick can't. Rick still has to squeeze a bit, but I, as a tiny guy, I can still walk through here without having to actually squeeze in. Unfortunately, in my old setup, I would have to squeeze in between rows, which was never good. I no longer have to do that. Actually, moving everything around actually allowed me to add some more shelves. I added like 2 more of these shelves and a few other shelves as well. So it made a lot more space, believe it or not, to actually do the library like this. So it was a pain in the butt. Took me a few months to move everything around and get everything situated the way I wanted it to be situated. But again, it made a lot more sense for the way my collection, the size of my collection, the way my collection currently is. And again, it did make a lot more space. And I always kind of wanted to have this little area as my my theater nook. I like my movies, or my TV used to be over in that corner. I never really liked that. I always kind of wanted this little like this little section right here to always be where my my theater area was. So I kind of like that. I like having it in this section here. It makes a lot of sense for me. And that is pretty much about it. I did actually build all these shelves along the walls myself. These were all hand built by me. So everything you see going all the way around, and the rafter shelves and everything like that, those were all actually hand built by myself. The only thing that wasn't, of course, were shelves like my VHS tapes and things like that. Obviously, all these black shelves were store bought, but everything on the walls hand built by me, so that they could be custom sized as I need them for the walls. And I think I'm rambling now. That's about it, right? Rick's like, yeah, I'm tired of holding this camera. So I think that's about it, guys. So how long have we been recording?
An hour and 15 minutes.
An hour and 15 minutes. Well, for those of you who are still watching, I really do appreciate it. I did not think this video would be that long. But it is what it is, guys. So that is the current Cinema Sickness library. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Rick, thank you so much for filming. I'm sure your hands are very tired. Do I owe you dinner? Should we go get dinner now?
Yes.
Okay, let's go get some food. So again, thank you, Rick, for filming. Thank you guys for watching. Yes, this is a new current setup. I'm loving it. I'm really enjoying the way things are right now. I'm in love with my library at this point. Again, things were kind of bugging me when everything felt kind of shoehorned in, but now that things are moved around and everything's in its place and looking the way it's looking, I'm really enjoying my current setup and the library. I think it's fantastic, and I'm so happy with the way everything is. So all right, again, I'm rambling, so I'm going to go, guys. So thank you guys so much for checking out this video. As always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later. Have a good one, guys. Bye. Guys, still watching? Well, if you are, pat yourself on the back because you are officially insane. I cannot believe how long this video has been going on, but as I mentioned in the video, I would probably forget to show you guys a few things, and I did, starting with my amazing Darth Vader handles that I have here on my my coffee table. Just a fun little extra little thing. Then we have my Lightning McQueen floor mat down here. So obviously I'm gonna get my feet. There you go. So I can wipe my feet off if they're dirty. Then something that I really should have shown you guys, because I actually mentioned it in the video. We have things like my kick stool, which is literally just a stool you kick around. I love this thing because I can be the same height as Rick now, which is great. And I can actually reach things on high shelves. A lot of people ask, how do you get to your rafter shelves? Well, the kickstool is how I do it. This is an absolute must for every library, in my opinion. Without this, I couldn't reach many things. And then we have my cart, and this is also great because I used to use this actually to actually house media on. It was a cart that I had all my DVD-Rs on. It was just where I displayed them. But once I put all my DVD-Rs on these shelves here, I decided to keep this cart because it comes in handy when I'm putting movies away. So I just bought some new movies. I can wheel this thing around the library with me and have all my movies just sitting on it, which is great. I no longer have to carry a huge stack of movies around and drop them on the floor. This thing here comes in handy a lot of the time for putting stuff away. Actually have some stuff on here as well. Things like my Blobfest sticker, Disney annual pass holder, or magnets I should say, not stickers. Oh no, I dropped one. So yes, again, Blobfest, annual pass, things like all these really cool, I think these were Shout Factory magnets as well. Things like Phantasm 2, Day of the Dead, The Fog, all kinds of cool horror titles. Some anime down there. Do you guys know what this is? Because I have no idea what anime that's from. Somebody sent that to me. Some more Shout Factory stuff. Movie Buff, the video, or the board game. I guess it's a card game actually. Then wait, I already showed that stuff. This side. Then Scream Factory, and again, Walt Disney World Annual Pass. So yes, my cart, my kickstool, my floor mat, and my handles for my my drawers. Okay, I think that's about it. So I'm gonna go and get something to drink because I officially have no voice left. Thank you guys for watching. You're crazy, I'm crazy, Rick's crazy. We're all insane. Goodbye.